Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Still in isolation, lockdown, still very bored, so I ordered myself a new Mandalorian Black Series figure that turned up today. Been on pre-order for a good few weeks now. Got delivered this morning, just about to take a first picture with it. Just going to do something very quick and simple. I've got some little bits out that should help us with the picture. Nothing too complicated. I'm just going to go through quickly the quick setup, and this one's probably going to be more about the editing because I'm going to green screen a background onto the picture with Photoshop once I'm done. Nothing too drastic. I'm just going to try and replicate the Mandalorian movie poster where he's walking away from the sunset. So I'm going for quite warm colours on this image. So I've got an LED panel, a white panel, I've got another LED light, all cheap and easy from eBay, so don't cost too much money. Got some magic sand out and a little cheap and cheerful green screen that the kids got for Christmas. So we'll just have a quick look. Okay, right, so here we've got the Mandalorian figure stood on some magic sand, which is on a piece of whiteboard because I don't want the sand all over my table, in front of a cardboard green screen. I've got an LED panel light there. They got on eBay. It's just cheap and cheerful. You can change all the colours on it. I haven't really used these too much, but I got two for like 15 quid, I think, just for this kind of setup. I've got my LED panel light here, set to 3200K, 100%, just because I want it to be quite a warm image because of he's going to have like a warm sunset behind him. So we've got the magic sand down here, which is quite a weird stuff. I've only used it a couple of times, but I quite like it. It's really quite stable once you put a figure on it. And the camera, which is our Nikon D7500. I've got the 18 to 200mm lens. I haven't done any of my settings yet. All I have done is I've taken custom automatic white balance off because I want to be able to control it in the camera. I know I'm shooting in RAW, but I just want to make it easier on myself. I'm not going to take too many pictures, probably one or two. I'm going to take a picture of him facing us, a picture of him facing away. I'm not sure if I want to get anything else out to take a picture. I might do, seeing the sands out and everything, but I'll include them if I do. Okay, right, so set up Mandalorian. My camera is set to ISO 100, f9, 1/5 of a second, focusing on Mandalorian's face. Okay, right, because it's quite a low light, it's struggling to focus, so we're going to switch over to manual focus for this. Don't generally use manual focus because if there's an autofocus thing on a camera, it's probably going to do a better job than I do sometimes at getting it. Let's try that. Yeah, it's a much better image. Okay, right, so that was the Mandalorian picture. So I thought I'd go over and have a look to see what kind of other toys I can use, seeing this is all out and I've not got exactly much else to do. So I went and picked up, here we go. So I went and got Ray and BB-8, Boba Fett, Stormtrooper, First Order Stormtrooper, Captain Phasma, and First Order Flame Trooper. I don't really like the Flame Trooper, but I got it for a £5 from the Entertainer. Okay, and I also picked out my X-Wing miniatures game. I've got the Millennium Falcon, not sure what that is, X-Wing and 2 TIE Fighters. I did a picture like this the other day with these, and it actually came out quite well, so I'm just going to do another one to see how it comes out. So what I'll do is I'm going to do some quick setup and then we'll bring you back. So the first picture I've got with these other figures is Ray and BB-8 walking away from something. I can put whatever I want in the background. So here's that shot. Okay, so it's simple. Got Ray looking down at BB-8. Just walking along. So that's the kind of shot. Bloody focus on this camera's terrible. There you go. So there's my settings, 125th, f4.8, ISO 100. I'm not going to do too much with Ray and BB-8. I'm going to move on to the next one now. Okay, right, so the next one in the firing line is Boba Fett. I've had to change the green screen round to blue screen, just because Boba Fett's got green in him. As soon as I start keying that out in Photoshop, it'll start taking out bits of him. But I've taken a couple of pictures of him, one walking away from the camera, one walking to the camera, and now just another one of him just kind of standing off to one side. There we go. Just standing there looking. Well, they're all kind of going to be desert themed pictures. Let's get back here. Okay, right, so they're all going to be desert themed pictures, so I'm going to have to pick out some backgrounds off of Google Images. I'm going to try a couple more things. I don't think I'm going to bother with Phasma and the Stormtroopers and stuff, just because I've got enough pictures already. What I'm going to do is now that I'm going to try some of the X-Wing miniatures. Okay, right, so I'm just going to get rid of any remnants of footprints that we have. What I might have to do here, because the sand bed isn't very thick, I don't think it will hold the weight of the Millennium Falcon very well. Yeah, it's not going to. So what I'm going to do is get rid of that first of all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the base plate in with the stick in, and then build the sand up over that, and then I can change the background in Photoshop. So let me dig out a hole. This is such weird stuff, this sand. Okay, right. So then just grab it, put it back on. I'll thin it out after. I probably want more at the back than I do at the front. There you go. Okay, with the post I can Photoshop that out quite easy. What I'll do is get rid of all remnants of fingerprints. And then put the Millennium Falcon on. Okay, it's a lot nicer. So what I do is I want to kind of come up to the edge of the blue screen as well, just because it should make my life easier when I'm editing. So that's the Millennium Falcon done. I've got one more image I'm going to take, but I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Not everyone's got access to Photoshop, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a cheating way of being able to put a background in your picture without actually having Photoshop. So we're going to ditch the green or blue screen and put my laptop behind there with a picture of like a desert. So give me 2 seconds, let me just go and set that up. Okay, right, so that's the last one. It took me a couple of minutes to set up. As you'll be able to see though, it's a very different setup to what we've just had. So here we go. Okay, right, so there we go. We've got the TIE Fighter and X-Wing, but this time no blue screen. It's my MacBook Pro with a picture of a desert on the background. I've set up my panel lights coming from the right hand side because it matches the shadows on the back. I brought my camera down quite low so you can just see the top of the sand. I focused in on the TIE Fighter. I'll take a picture like that. I'll focus in on the X-Wing. I might even do a bit of a composite so you can get them both at the same time. Then I'm going to take them out, take a picture of just the sand and the background on its own. At least that way I can then colour adjust the bottom sand to match the sand in the background. So, okay, let me take a couple of pictures. Okay, right, so I've taken a picture of the TIE Fighter in focus, picture of the X-Wing in focus, and now if we take them both out, take one more picture. If I switch this onto manual focus now so it doesn't change anything. There we go, so now it's just a picture of the sand at the front and the picture on the screen at the back. Okay, so all in all we took a few pictures of the Mandalorian, a few pictures of Boba Fett, Rey, BB-8, and some X-Wing miniatures. So what I'm going to do is now I've got the fun job of cleaning up, which this sand isn't too bad, to be honest. It all clumps together and I'll just put it in a pot, put it back in my cupboard. Then we'll head over to the computer and start importing the photos and see how they go. Hey guys, welcome back to the video. We are a day after when we took the pictures. I put them on Lightroom yesterday. I did a quick couple of edits in Photoshop, but I didn't really record anything because I was a bit tired. So what we have here is our images that we took. We took 17 photos. We took some of Mandalorian, some of Rey and BB-8, a couple of Boba Fett, which I've messed up, some Millennium Falcons, and then we did the ones in front of the laptop screen. Okay, right, so the Mandalorian ones have come out quite well. That one's a little bit out of focus. That one's a lot better. So remember, these are the ones where I took 3 at different exposures. So we've got the light one, the dark one, and then the darker one. I've done that because then I can pick out the shadows. Okay, right, so we've got another one which I took, that was at f4.8, where these ones were at f18. So you can see there's a lot more detail in the sand. But then we've got the, what was that, f4.8, again you get more of a blurry background. Then we did a landscape one, again same kind of thing, that was f4.8. Then we went over to Rey and BB-8, did a couple of different poses. Quite like that one, to be honest. I haven't done any editing on that one yet. That was a little bit higher up, so we could use that because it has the shadows. Here the Boba Fett ones I've messed up. I should have changed the background to a blue screen, because then you can just pick the blue colour out in Photoshop and just get rid of it, because there's no blue on him. But now if I do that with the green, it's going to take away all the green on him. Quite like that picture. I'm going to do something like that a bit in the future. Probably like a full-length version of him. I like the fact he's holding his handgun. Then we've got the 2 Millennium Falcon ones. Not very keen on them, to be honest. But I'll work with one of them just to see what I can get. I've done something very similar recently for Instagram. And then we've got the ones that we did in front of the screen. So we've got the one where the TIE Fighter's in focus, the X-Wing's in focus, and then we've got one where it's just the background. That'll help us out when we're trying to get rid of the sticks that are holding them up. Okay, right, so first things first, I put these 3 images into Photoshop. So let me just end that. Okay, right, so here we are with our image in Photoshop. I've cropped it a little bit to kind of bring it in and just offset him up to the side. I've already done all the editing already. So what I did first of all is I masked out the background. Don't worry about these feet here, I had to go in and fix them after. I had to go around and take off a little bit around the edges where there was like a little dark patch, but I tidied that up a bit after. Okay, right, so that's there, adding shadows in from the darker version. Okay, then we're adjusting the colour there. We're making it orange because we've got an orange background, so we'll put that in now. So next, brings up the highlights a little bit. Here, the sand is obviously a different colour, so I isolated the sand from another version of the picture, which is the light one. Put a bit of a shadow in, colour balance in the bottom, and then the last layer is adding a bit more shadow. That's how the image came out. So it's actually come out quite well. It's very similar to the actual poster of The Mandalorian. So yeah, that took me about half an hour. Again, I'm not a Photoshop person. I've only been teaching myself it for the last few months. I've probably done stuff totally the wrong way, but it's the way it works for me, and it's actually come out quite well. I'm actually quite proud of the colour matching I've got on the Mandalorian himself, because whereas at the beginning I was struggling with his colour and he was looking way too bright and blue. So as you can see from the beginning, he doesn't look like he should be there. And then I didn't want to go too heavy on the shadows because I still wanted to see his detail. But then he is in shadow because of the sun's behind him. But yeah, I actually think it's come out quite well. I could have done better on the shadows, but it was getting a bit late and I just kind of had enough by that point. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the pictures from the Millennium Falcon, not the Millennium Falcon, the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, the one that we did in front of the screen. So we'll put that in here and do a very quick edit on how we can kind of get rid of those posts. Okay, right, so here we are in Photoshop. We've got our 3 layers, X-Wing in focus, TIE Fighter in focus, and then just the background. So you can see they've both got posts. You could get rid of these with the, what is it called? Clone stamp tool. So let's go and select that and see how we can do with that. So if we select over here, it'd be better. It's going alright, but you can kind of tell. So what I find is, to be honest, I prefer the one where the TIE Fighter is in focus rather than the X-Wing one. Yeah, so what we'll do is we're going to get rid of the X-Wing one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer mask on here, and then I'm just going to go to my brush tool, change it to thing, and then you can kind of just get rid of them. It's a very quick, easy way if you don't mess up like I just did. There you go, so you're just painting away. This is the luxury of having that image where there's no subject, so it's just the background. There you go, just tidy up the edges. So now, what we'll do, see like that, that's where that wasn't in focus before. We're just getting a point, so I'm going to have to use the clone stamp tool on that. Okay, and again, same over here, we'll paint away. That's quite a harsh line, so we're going to take away the hardness of the brush and we'll zoom in and do it properly. Again, I'm not a Photoshop person, it's just what I've kind of taught myself. There you go. So what I'm going to do now is going to go and use that clone stamp tool on here. It would help. What we have to do first is paint back in there. Select the right layer first, eh? That's why my black and white have gone. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. There's a couple of other little bits you can do. You could add some lights onto the front of the X-Wing or the TIE Fighter. But what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to export that back to Lightroom and we'll just edit it in there. Okay, right, so we're back in Lightroom. Here's our image with no posts. So as you can see, it looks, let's go with that one so you can compare. Looks alright. There is a little bit of a 90-degree bend thing there, which I'm not really keen on, but I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Got one little bit there that I'm going to get rid of. There you go. Okay, right, so now it's just a matter of colour grading. I like the actual colours on it. I think they've come out quite well. The sand could be a little bit of a different colour, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these filters that I've got, and you probably won't even know. So I'm going to go for warm shadows, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the HSL and I'm going to turn the saturation of the orange down, or I might change the hue of the yellow to kind of, I quite like that a bit better, because then you can't see the two differences between the sand in the background and the sand that I took. Okay, right, bump some of these up a little bit. I like the texture in the wings of the TIE Fighter, so I want to be able to see those. I'll bring the highlights down ever so slightly and bump the shadows up. So I'm quite happy with that. So there we've got two images from our little set. One of the Mandalorian, which was quite a lot of editing to be honest, but I think it's come out great. I love it. I love the figure itself. And then a couple of, well, another one of the TIE Fighter and X-Wing. This ain't very similar the other day, which has gone quite well on Instagram, so I thought I'd just do a quick tutorial on how we do it. So there we are guys, another isolation video. Don't forget to follow our Instagram. We've got a couple, the links are below. There'll be more videos coming soon, no doubt, because we're not going anywhere fast. Thanks for watching guys, don't forget to subscribe.